Coach, a number of the players have commented on the offensive side about how they enjoy having you on the sideline, being able to communicate during the game. How did you think that went? Just talk in general about the pluses and minuses of you being there.
Well, you know, one of the biggest things when you're down on the field, you get a much better feel for the players, their state of mind. You can look them right in the eyes, get a feel for where you think you're at from a mental standpoint. One of the things you do lose, you don't get the visual effects that you can see from upstairs. So, you know, it is important and got great communication from the guys in the box. Our staff did an outstanding job, and that was something we talked about in depth going into the game and went back and talked about it yesterday and how we can do things better and what we did well, just as far as a communication standpoint goes from the field to the box and vice versa.
Doug, against Appalachian State, second quarter, you guys are already up by 35. Knowing that Notre Dame's coming on, do you kind of limit the playbook a little bit to save some things for this big week?
Well, as in any game, we go in with the game plan and we're going to execute the game plan the best we possibly can. So obviously we weren't going to reinvent the wheel or do anything we hadn't planned or talked about doing, but we stuck with the game plan throughout.
Steve? Coach, with Coach Van Gorder, you've gone against him before. You were at Alabama, he was at Auburn. Talk about that, and obviously the personnel is different, but how you might both be inside each other's heads a little more than typical for you coordinators.
Brian's an outstanding coach. I have a lot of respect for him, and if you look at his track record and what he's done through his career, he's an outstanding football coach. So obviously he presents a lot of challenges for you, and that's where we've been in the film room buried all day trying to find a nugget here or there to give us an advantage.
What were your thoughts on the new look offensive line, and especially Mason Cole, how he kind of took his first college game in stride?
Thought Mason did a nice job, you know. Talked about a little bit last week. Nothing's too big for him. He is a young player, and we knew that going into the game there were going to be some things that happened, and obviously the one sack that occurred. But it's not about the sack, it's how you react to it. We talked to our guys a lot about play the next play, and it's not about whether the play before was a great play or if it was a really bad play, because it really doesn't matter. It's irrelevant now. And thought he did an outstanding job, very focused, very level-headed, played a good football game.
Rachel?
Earlier, Brady said that he wanted a little more precision out of the offense going into the Notre Dame game. What does need to be fine-tuned or improved going into this weekend?
What doesn't need to be improved, I guess, should be the question. We've got a long way to go. You know, I hit on a little bit last week, consistency in performance, our ability to perform at a high level each and every day. We're not there yet. We play well in stretches, and then at times we don't do things the way we need to do them. So we'll get back to the practice field tomorrow, and it's important that we have another great week of practice and get better each and every time we go out.
There's some talk in the preseason about, maybe the defense holding things up while the offense develops. You didn't want to hear that. Did you use that for motivation, and was the first game important in terms of your guys proving a point about being able to move the football on the ground, etc.?
Every game's important. Every play's important. It's about our players, and you know, we talked about our youth, and every time we go out, it's important that we focus and we get better. I said it last week. We're doing things better, and some days it doesn't look like it. And you say, "Wow, that was a tough practice," or that wasn't the way we wanted things to go. And then you go and you evaluate and say, "Well, you know, we did get better in this area." And like I talked about, it's going to be about us continuing to grow and then developing that consistency to do it well on a day-to-day basis.
Coach, just to piggyback John a little bit, as far as the ground production, I know it's just one game, but we saw a little bit out of Derek and Davion. Are you confident these guys are going to be able to maybe combine and get you a couple thousand on the ground this year?
I thought they both did a really, really nice job, and both of them had things obviously that we can do a little better. But really, from a production standpoint, you look at the way they produced and the things that we asked them to do. It was a very, very efficient and effective game for them.
J.U. Chesson only had a couple catches, but talk about his role as a blocker down the field and how that helps get those long runs.
Well, I thought our receivers did an outstanding job across the board, and we talked about it going into the game that ball security would be a major part, as it will every week. You know, if you look at the turnover margin, it's the number one telling statistic in all of football. We talked to our players about everybody's got to get to the ball. I thought our hustle across the board, the way we competed and challenged on every play was outstanding. Our guys ran to the football in the running game, in the passing game. We got down the field, especially the linemen. But the receivers did an outstanding job blocking on the perimeter, not only for each other when you looked at some of the perimeter screens and those type of things we threw, but down the field in the running game too.